Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. This time I'm working on an illustration for my upcoming art book. It's going to be coming out in May for the expo that I'm taking part in. And as you can guess, I'm drawing an orihime from Bleach. Anyway, I've been requested to make a video on how I color. Mainly color clothes and hair. But to be honest, well, even though I'm gonna cover all those topics, I think coloring in general with Copics is pretty much the same for any part of character or illustration that you're coloring with. So my first advice to all of the people who are just starting out using Copics is obviously keep a scrap paper. Before you color on the actual drawing, try your colors and combination of colors beforehand, because you don't want to spoil your image, right? So sometimes I would just photocopy the illustration I'm working on, and this way I can test different color combinations, whether they will suit the character or not, and how different the shades of colors work together, whether they blend together well, or how should I go about blending. Um, Regarding the blending, I read when I was learning how to use Copics, I came across different tutorials, and seriously, different artists prefer different ways of coloring. Majority of them would say start from light color and go to dark, and that's fair enough because it's easier to make something look darker if you didn't have enough shade rather than deleting the color from what you already have. But I sometimes find it easier to blend when you lay down the dark color first and then use your lighter tones to blend it. But for this approach, it's kind of tricky because you're supposed to know beforehand where the shades will be and where is your light, and in what direction the light is casting the shadows. So this is the tricky part, but I cannot say that I use it all the time, going from dark to light, because to be honest, I use what's comfortable for me at this moment. So, like particularly here, you can see me going from dark to light, but sometimes with the different colors, it is easier to blend for another way around. Going from light to dark, I found that it uses up a lot of ink, because if you think of it, you first lay down the actual light color, which covers the majority of piece, and then you use dark color and then mid-tone and then again a lighter tone to blend the combinations. So in this case you just use up more color. So it literally depends on your approach to it. Try it out, and don't get discouraged if you mess up. You can always start again. So for example, like here, you see I color starting with light tone and then go into the dark tone, and then to blend the whole thing better, use mid-tone and then light tone again. My another advice for all of you is to, before you start coloring with certain colors, try to visually split your image into sections, because Copic ink dries out very quickly. Depends what type of paper you use. I use Bristol board, 250 GSM. In this paper, it's not drastically fast, drying fast, but still, it's quite fast. So, in order to get the better blending, it is better to blend while the ink is still not dry. So try before even starting blending, try to figure out in which area, which sections to divide it, and then try out. And even if it doesn't blend well, I mean, sometimes I would leave it to dry a little bit, and then if it still didn't blend that well, I would go over to brighten and roughen the color and make it smoother. But please don't go overboard because you can ruin it this way. You just need to get a feeling and hang of it. And don't worry if it doesn't work out that well, because it took me literally a year to get used to my Copics. I had them for about a year and a half, and at some point I'd still preferred to use watercolors before I got used to Copics. Um, Another advice for smooth shadows and transitions from light to dark, literally just blend in well and try to stay steady on the blending, because like for example I do here. um I lay down the dark color, and then I will go with my mid-tone to the section that is already colored, and then I will go with the lighter one, and I would keep doing so over and over again until I'm satisfied um, with how the transition goes. This in particular, it allows me to sort of show that the volume of the skirt, of that fold in particular. Actually, funny part about that was that my lightest tone, which was G21, actually was running out of ink, and on my chisel end, which I usually use for wider area coloring, I didn't have enough ink, so I was quite troubled there. That's why you always have to make sure you have enough ink or ink refills before you start coloring as well. See how I'm trying to blend the color? And now I'm taking again the mid-tone and trying to blend it even better for a smoother transition. Because literally in this type of trans shadowy transition, you really need to have to show the softness of it to indicate the volume of the actual fold. Then there are other shadows, and which I would use say on the edges of say transition between one fold to another one. And in this case I prefer to have I prefer to have them sharp, and this is achieved by just literally not blending only within the shadow and then leaving the other side untouched, or not that well blended. That this is what creates this whole roughness. um, like here I'm taking already a dark color, and I'm trying to mark where the boundaries of this harsh shadow would be, drawing inner line at the moment, and then um, outer line. And basically here you would be interested in blending well within those two lines, and then leaving outer line either not untouched at all, or just go over with the lightest marker, but very slightly. So my harsh lines done. I'm starting blending within the lines with my midtone. And now take your lighter color and go over to blend even better within the shadow area, and slightly around the edge as well. But majority of that should concentrate on within the shadow area to leave the other outer line untouched. And now just working on the general area, which I thought that didn't get enough blending, or was um, could have another coat of color. That's why you see when I say that approach from light to dark actually takes up more ink, because the amount of times you go over the darker or the midtones with your light tone. So here I'm back to dark to light approach. To be honest, I sometimes don't even notice when I start coloring light to dark or dark to light, but majority of times I would start from dark to light. For example, on skin, it's 100% I would do from dark to light. Sometimes it would also be helpful, say, if you photocopied your original line work, take a pencil and just mark the places where you think. Firstly, decide where your light source is, and then try to mark where you'd say that you think that this light source is casting shadows, and then have this scrap image in front of you when you're coloring with Copics. Say if you're doing from dark to light approach, and then try to copy this marks with color and blending it on the original image. Okay, that can be helpful. The also smoothness of the shadows and blendings can indicate the type of material the object is made of. So, for example, the way you would color a fabric can be different to the way you would color, say, plastic, or even different fabric has obviously different color grades. So, for example, a velvet is so rich in color and in shadows, whereas, say, silky fabric can show or look differently with the shadows and color changes. So I think some people need to firstly look at different fabrics if you're that precise on what you want to show or have like show the impression of, and study the way the different fabric reacts with light and shadow. So, for example, the moment I've been coloring all the fabric, but the hairband is another thing. I try to actually use make it look a little bit plasticky, but in the end, I think it looked a little bit like silky ribbon. You'll see it in a moment. You see, I also fail. uh, so here again, just trying to lay down the dark color. And I think in this one, I usually when I color, I would take three shades of the same color. So I'm coloring with lightest one G21, then midtone G24, and then dark tone I think G28. I'm not quite sure. And then in the actual hairband, I actually used the fourth one, a lighter one. Yeah, I think I used G12, but just only a touch of it. Yeah, when I color the plastic or try to color something like that, I would do a lot of harsh edges and uh, yeah, trying to leave the space for bright spots as well, because if it's plastic it has all the reflections and white parts and harsh edges between light and dark. But yeah, failed, I think. So yeah, this is how I color clothes. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I will be back with the next video quite soon. I'll try, because I did another one on this one. And yeah, hope you liked it. Leave me a comment if you want me to cover something else. And yeah, thank you for watching.